I think we have been too comfortable over the last decades with our freedom. So we have to step up to make sure that industry can go on whenever under attack, which way or another, but also society can go on, and that we are resilient as a society.
How seriously is the Netherlands taking these drone sightings? Obviously, Schiphol Airport, a major transport hub, could cause a lot of disruption. What extra steps is the Netherlands going to take to combat this?
Well, we have a special drone program, and this drone program is also in combination and association with Ukraine, because we want to learn a lot. Unfortunately, Ukraine is in a position that it has daily experience, so we can learn a lot from interception, from censoring, and for using AI around drone, and I think that's very important. And at the same time, we had our experience during the NATO summit, and we had some experience over there, and we could use that as well last week in Copenhagen, where we had the European Council. So we're working together with a lot of countries, and also we are in the European Union in the lead for developing a drone program.
Do you think that Europe is in sync on this? There wasn't a consensus at the Copenhagen summit last week.
Yeah, I think we are in sync, but of course every country wants to have its own drone program. But at the same time, everybody realized that we have to combine it all together. And we can, of course, all kind of experiments can be in different countries, but in the end, we have to bring it together. And what's very important, and I also saw this today, is that we have to adapt very quickly. Because at the front line, every day there is a change, so you have to adapt very quickly. And this morning at the conference on the defense industry, I said this is not only government business, but it's also competition of the defense industry from Russia versus Ukraine, Europe.
And is there consensus about who is behind these drone incidents?
Yes, of course. Unfortunately, we cannot prove who's behind. There is a lot of thinking, maybe it's other Russians. But we cannot prove, and I hope that one day we can prove either either it's the Russians or it was something else. But it is really worrying that they are now around our infrastructure, around our airports, and I think we have to step up our security in that respect.
And is the Netherlands prepared to shoot these drones down if it comes to it?
Well, you saw what we did when they entered the airspace of NATO in Poland. Actually, Dutch F-35 shot them down. But it's a very expensive way of shooting down drones. So yes, we are prepared to shoot them down, but you try to jam them, you try to take them over, take control. But in the end, I mean, they have to disappear.
And in terms of these sightings over airports across Europe, are we talking like FPV drones or are they larger recon drones?
I really don't know. I haven't read all the reports yet, so we have to find out.
Okay. Princess Amalia recently began training to become a military reservist. Is that something that you hope will inspire other young people in your country?
Yes, of course. I mean, if they go voluntarily to defense, we have quite an extensive program on expanding our military with professionals. And Princess Amalia is regular for a crown prince, or in this case a crown princess, to step into the military. Our current king did it as well. But I hope that that's also ignites some inspiration for others.
And do you think the Netherlands is prepared, like on a societal level, for potential wider war in Europe?
Well, this is a difficult question to answer. I think we have been too comfortable over the last decades with our freedom. So we have to step up. So we are building up now together with different government parties, but also with industry and also with NGOs, a resilience program for just society to make sure that industry can go on whenever under attack, which way or another, but also society can go on, and that we are resilient as a society.
And what about timescale? Because obviously Russia's actions in Ukraine and across Europe show that they are gearing up, if not making provocations towards that already. What sort of timescale are you kind of working on in terms of getting countries in Europe ready?
Again, that's a difficult question because at this time I think we are lacking a little bit. But at the same time, we don't see a war coming, but we see all kind of aggression. And I hope that we will step up our resilience. We step up military. We had the Hague NATO summit, where we agreed on 5% on defense in the year 2035. And of course, we have the defense programs and finance programs from the EU They go to 2030, so that's the time span in which we are working, but we have to catch up. The sooner the better.
Last week at the Warsaw Security Conference, Keith Kellogg criticised European countries for constantly asking permission to do things, to get US permission. Why is Europe collectively so afraid of acting on its own without US support?
Well, it's not that we are afraid, but I think it's necessary that what we do in Europe has the back of America. NATO is still the most important security guarantee for Europe, and we rely heavily on America within NATO. So that's why it's important that when we talk about the coalition do willing and security guarantees for Ukraine, we have the back of America supporting us. We need the Americans also for the real deterrence, and without America there's no real deterrence, and deterrence you need when you want to have real security guarantees.
President Zelensky in his evening address yesterday said that there was no real reaction to continued Russian strikes on Ukrainian energy infrastructure, which we're seeing more and more in recent weeks. Did you bring that up with him today, and what was your response to that?
Yeah, he did bring it up, and the Prime Minister as well. And it was an issue we discussed also earlier this year when I was in Zaporizhia. The Netherlands have a couple of times gave money for restoration of the energy infrastructure, and I think it's very important for Ukraine, especially on the front line, to have electricity and gas for the people. So probably also within the EU we would make proposals to see how we can financially at least help Ukraine so they can buy gas or buy electricity. And of course you need a lot of generators and to build up the electricity.
Do you think Europe is doing enough to counter Russian aggression?
Well, we do a lot. And we help financially, politically, economically, militarily Ukraine, specifically from the Netherlands. I think that other European countries could do more. A lot of European countries do a lot, but other European countries could do more. So I think in general we would have to step up as the European Union, as is Europe, our defense efforts and also our support for Ukraine.
But Russia is continuing to escalate despite all of that help. Is it not time to consider doing something more than just sending support to Ukraine?
Yeah, we'll put pressure on Russia all the time. That's also why it's important to have this 19 sanction package from Europe. We already have their 18. That 19 is really going to hurt them also economically again. I think that's important, and I hope that also the US one day will put their sanctions in place, because that will probably force Russia to the negotiation tables for real discussions with Ukraine about peace.
Your support is central to help us keeping the world informed about what's at stake in Ukraine. Consider becoming a member to help the Kyiv Independent provide locally produced journalism from Ukraine to the world.